While A Link to the Past was technically my first Zelda game, I prefer to call Ocarina of Time my true first Zelda game. I think I got the game on release day, or soon after, knowing that it must be a masterpiece. And I wasn't disappointed. From the moment I turned the console on and saw the amazing 3D graphics of Link riding on Epona over Hyrule Field, accompanied by the sweet, calm music of the intro, I felt transported into a world of fantasy that just waited for me to be explored. People often say that every Zelda game after A Link to the Past lost the possibility to do the dungeons out of order. To those I like to say, nope. Sure, the dungeons in Ocarina of Time were designed to be beaten in a particular order. Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, and Lord Jabu Jabu's Valley as a kid, followed by the Forest Temple, Fire Temple, Water Temple, Shadow Temple, and Spirit Temple as an adult. But when I played the game for the very first time, I screwed the order up. Big time. Sure, Deku Tree came first, naturally. Then I went to the Gorons and Dodongo's Cavern. But as soon as I got the bombs and were back in the main hall of the dungeon, I went out, ran towards the Zora River, and blasted my way into Zora's domain. These rocks intrigued me from my very first time exploring Hyrule Field, and I wanted to know what's behind them. So I actually did Jabu Jabu's Valley before I returned to Dodongo's Cavern. As adult Link, I wasn't much better. I went to the Forest Temple first and hated it. The music creeped me out and I got constantly lost. I don't remember if I beat it in one go though, or if I left the dungeon a few times. But I think that I cleared it first after all, because Sheikah told me so. Then I went to the Fire Temple, got the Steel Hammer and left. Another dungeon I got lost in, and still get lost in today, mind you. I ended up switching back and forth between the Water Temple and the Fire Temple, but I think I got the long shot, explored Gerudo Valley, eventually beat the Water and Fire Temple, in that order if I remember correctly, and went on to the Spirit Temple. Shadow Temple? Yeah, I've been there. Grabbed the hover boots and went out there again with a big nope. So I beat the full Spirit Temple, again, before I returned to the Shadow Temple. In all my time growing up, I was fully believing that the Shadow Temple came last. Heck, in a small fanfiction I wrote back then, I even wrote specifically that Link beats the Shadow Temple before returning to the Temple of Time. So I have actually written proof that my firm belief was that the Shadow Temple came last. I didn't notice this mistake until I replayed the game on the 3DS, and got stuck in the Spirit Temple because I haven't got the hover boots. And it took me a good while to realize this mistake, trying my hardest to long-shot my way further to no prevail. Which is funny, because I had replayed the game before on the GameCube, and didn't notice my error then. Guess I got the hover boots as soon as I could again, and then left for the Spirit Temple, just as I did as a kid. I could talk on and on about the game, as this is just one anecdote of many. Like the one time I let Talon sleep for weeks, because I just reached the outskirts of Hyrule Castle and waited for the morning to come, when my parents called me to go grocery shopping with them, and I left the console on. When I returned hours later, I realized my mistake, with a guilty feeling of having wasted power, but didn't bother to turn the console off again, and just played on from where I had left off. So yeah, Talon slept for weeks outside of Hyrule Castle on my first playthrough. Ocarina of Time is the one Zelda game I played the most, in both normal and Master Quest mode. I remember the thrill of finally beating Ganon, beating my very first Zelda game, and strangely the nightmares afterwards. Keep in mind, I'm not someone to easily get nightmares. Sadly, this led to my break in video games I mentioned before, but that's a story for a whole different time. Despite my utter love and nostalgia for Ocarina of Time, it's not one of my favorite 3 Zelda titles, but it comes at a very close 4th place. Which are my favorite Zelda titles? Well, I'll speak of one of them very soon.